Well, hello. Today I'm coming to you with the inaugural episode of did Myra find in her stash Wednesday. It'll be either that or what did Myra buy or what did Myra get herself into. So it'll always be involving something about what. So this week I just wanted to drag out some stuff because we're still in January, it's still winter, and it's still a time where we can make some winter cards. And I picked up some things like these two. You've seen them in a prior video. I picked these up like last July or August on an HSN craft day. So they are two embossing folders. This one, I don't know if they're 3D. Does it say is it 3D? I don't know if it does or it does not. Either way, it's very, very pretty. So it's a very pretty and your basic embossing folder essentially, but we're going to do something, I'm going to do a card, somewhat of a non-traditional card with it. And then this one is both both embosses and cuts. So I want to do something with both of these for you. And what I have done is I brought you, I'm bringing you a card, a take on a card I did in a class quite a few years ago in Expo. But I'm going to take these and I'm making non-traditional because usually you're going to do winter. It's going to be in the blues and the whites. And this time I wanted to use craft. And so I did these cards using these two embossing folders, and then I coupled it with my Spellbinders dies. So give me just a second. I'm going to grab, I already have all the materials, but let me set up now to teach you guys show you guys how I did this. Be right back. Alrighty, I'm back. I have cut two card bases, so I found some craft paper I had, obviously, and apparently I didn't even realize when I cut them down that they're actually two different colors. But so I cut a 5x7, and then I cut the top sheet. I took 3/8 of an inch on two sides so that it gives me just a little bit of a margin to peek out underneath on both of these. And now, so I'm going to go ahead and run my top pieces, one each, out of these embossing folders. So I'm going to start with this one. And what I do quickly, I usually do, is I just give it a quick spritz. Actually, I should have just done the one corner because it's the only place it's going to get embossing. But I tend to do that just to get a crisper embossing, and I do try to center this because there's not a lot of space. I want it to look even, but there's not a lot of space. Whoops. And I probably should not be stressing this. Okay, I'm going to call that good enough for government work. Bring this up a little bit, even past. That's okay. Okay, we're going to call it good. Ooh, let me turn this around. And we have Squeaky on, you guys can see her. No, you can't. Well, no, Squeaky just moved. She had parked herself just beyond the camera over here. She wanted to hang out with me, but she has moved. She says, you have made this a hostile hangout environment. And I grabbed and sent one of my plates to the floor. Of course. Good grief. Alrighty. So I just took both using my Big Shot, I took down both of the tabs and I just run it through on the base plate with the two plates. Run it through one way, and I'm just going to run it back. And that should be good enough. Let's see. Wah. And if it isn't good enough, I like it. That's really, can you see that is really nice and crisp. That's perfect. That is why I moisten the paper. Now on this one, it gets a little tricky because I don't want to wet the whole sheet because this is going to be cut. So I just want to hit, so I'm going to have to be more purposeful and just hit the center because that's the only part that's going to get the embossing. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to center it more or less here. Oh my gosh, there's nowhere that cat hair doesn't get into in this house, I swear. Okay, and then I'm just going to plop it in there. And I'm going to run it through real quick. And this one, oh, and I did forget to do one thing because I know there's a problem spot. I ran into that trouble when I made up my sample, which is why I try to do this off camera as a sample first so that I identify all the tricky parts. I'm just grabbing a piece of scrap paper and I'm going to put it here and run that corner back through. Because for whatever reason, it does not want to cut. That little corner, that one snowflake, just that one snowflake. I had to run it through twice. Because I want to make sure that snowflake gets done. So I just shimmed it with a little piece of paper. So let's see. You hold it at one end. Now, of course, because it's Okay, the problem, they look, now see, now it's here. Maybe that's, I'm going to run it back through on this end now. Because I want those snowflakes to pop right out because we're going to use them on the other card. They are going to, I'm pulling them off of this card to decorate the other card. Now let's see, let's take a look. Now that looks good. That looks like it cut all the way through. So, I mean, no matter what, it was going to cut through. What I want is for these little puppies to just pop out really easily for me. Here it is. And let's just pop these puppies out. See, this is what I want to happen. It's for them just to come pop right out. Because I'll get them out, but I would like to not damage them so that I can use them. See, everything else came right out. All the curlicues are sitting on my on the die on the cutting part of the embossing folder. But there you go, and it came out nice and crisp how I wanted it to. So now I can set this aside because we are done. Actually, no, let me take a moment. Let me grab my cream colored paper. I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. I have this all cut out. I have both panels done anyway, and I also went ahead and off camera. I cut out all of the not the stars, let me snowflakes, but I wanted to bring us something up, guys, and I realized that the dies I showed you were not the dies I used to make these. What was the dies I had ruled out, and I just grabbed the wrong one. These are the dies that I use. They're Spellbinders. I've had these for a long time, and I bought them, and you can tell, you know, cheaper, and they were on clearance back then, and I've had them for at least 5 or 6 years. So you can probably, I'm going to link the name of it and the number down below. I'm betting money you can probably find it on eBay or on somebody selling it on Etsy or something like that. So I'm sure it's still findable. But anyway, so I just wanted to let you know that I'm sorry I showed you the wrong one and that this is the one. So I'm going to go in now. What I did with my other one is I wanted to highlight this because it just sits there flat. So what I did is I went in with some white ink, and I chose to use what was handy, which is I always keep that handy, my FSJ whipped cream. And what I did is I always will tap in and grab ink, but I will always tap off once just so I don't hit it. I don't get like a blob. And then all I do is just rub it lightly over the top. No matter what, I found that I'm going to grab paper underneath. But if I do it really lightly, what I end up getting is a kind of, because I do it in a circular motion, that's the other thing, is to do this in a circular motion. And take your time and just hit it lightly. It's better. You can always go back and darken it, but once you've got that, yeah, that's not fixable. You're done. So you're better off just going slowly, taking your time, not panicking. Not worried that you're on camera or anything silly like that. You just want to get these done. I mean, once you've done several, you'll get a feel for it. But I'm just taking my time so that I can show you that, you know, remember, it's the tortoise that won the race, not the hare. I go in and I'm just slowly and lightly, gently just bringing out all of those all that embossed background that I have with the white. And then it gives, since it is snow, we're using snowflakes, it does give it a bit of a snowstorm, you know, snow flurry kind of a look. So I like that, because at first when I started realizing, oh my gosh, I'm getting on my background, I was not a happy camper. But then when I, you know, at a second look, and I had to walk away and take a break. And when I came back, honestly, I think the scrapbooking fairies came. And they said, let's fix this up for the Mad Scrapper and make her see that, no, this actually does work. And they were right. It does work. So I left it that way. And you know, what was actually was a happy accident. I was like, oh, see, and that's the thing. Sometimes it's our mistakes that open our eyes to something, or, you know, show us like, hey, I could do this. So now I'm basically doing that on purpose because I want to have that. But there we go. So now at least all our snowflakes stand out a bit off the background. I don't know why I'm taking the time to do some of these, because I'm going to cover them anyway with the other snowflakes that I cut off, because that coincidentally happened to match. So now we have this, and it's all ready for me to mount on this. And what I'm going to go ahead and do that, because I'm going to very quickly, I always put a sentiment on the back of my cards, you know, handmade by, or there's another one that a Stampenda stamp that I always put on there. So I'm going to do that first before I do the dimensionalizer, because otherwise I can't do it. But before I do anything, let me grab one of my microfibers and let me clean up the ink. So I don't get it on my card, either off my fingers or, there we go, off the table. So let me do that first. So let's grab Big Mama. Although, you know what? I can actually do this. I changed my mind because I am allowed to do that. I'm going to grab my Barely Art, which is like my go-to glue. It's still my favorite, but it takes just a few seconds longer to dry. And sometimes that's what you need. It gives me squidget time. If you go with glue, I mean, tape is just fine. Tape will work just fine with this. But this gives me a little squoogel time so that I can center it. Where with tape, it's like you're down, and you either, if it's like, oops, that's not centered or the way I want it, then you have to try to carefully peel it up or break out the undo. So we're going to try to not have to do that. So here I can just, pretty much eyeball it, lay it down, but I've got a few seconds to center it before it sticks, before it'll take. So, and it's not perfect, but that's okay because the decoration will just detract for it. I don't think anybody's going to grab a ruler and look, and you're like, is that center or not? And if they do, they don't deserve the card. You take it away and you punch them in the nose. Ungrateful. And then now I have to do, but before I use these, because I could use them just flat, but I'm not going to. I want to sparkle them up. So I'm going to let me grab a wet one because this is going to get messy real quick. I'm going to end up with very sticky fingers. So I'm going to have my little cloth right there. I'm going to start with my big star. Whoops. No. I'm going to grab clear embossing ink. And this is the one I have handy. Versamark is just as good, if not better, but this is the one I happen to have handy. I mean, you can see I missed a little piece of Chad, so let me get rid of that. Yeah, it still wants to stay. Rude. I did not invite it to this party. Who said it could stay? But I'm just going to stick it down here on the ink pad. You can see what I'm doing here. I'm just picking up a bunch of the ink. See, so it's nice and shiny, and then I see another little piece of foo-foo. I thought I poked this out. Holy jeez. Okay, so I'm checking it. See, there's a little point there. I want it to be completely saturated in ink. So I'm going to press down because it seems like the points are not grabbing very well. And this is exactly why I grabbed that the little wet one to get, because now my fingers are all sticky. So let me just wipe them off because now all the embossing powder. So when I grab, I just happen to have handy, this is Recollections, but it's a glitter. If you see, it's a glitter powder. So I'm just going to cover it. So it's going to be both, it'll be embossed, but it's going to have a sparkle to it. There was another one I wanted to use. In fact, I used it on the first card. And for the life of me, I cannot find it. I don't know what I did with it, because there's always something that goes missing when I need it. But I just covered that completely. And my embossing pot, I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to put my lid on this. And let me plug in my heat tool real quick. There we go. And then we're going to grab, I'm just literally going to do it right straight on the glass. I'm going to hold it in place. And hopefully you can see the magic, but there we go. There it is. It's all turning and going all sparkly on me. I love embossing powder. Do its thing. It's like magical. There we go. So let me bring it up closer to you. So there you go. I have the really super sparkly snowflake. Now give me a minute and I'm going to do the other ones. Once you see one, you've seen them all. Let me emboss the other ones and I'll be right back, okay? So to paraphrase General Patton, I have returned. But okay, you will notice that when I left, this card was put together well. I had an idea. So yeah, be afraid. Be very afraid. It just popped in my head, so I went ahead and pulled this apart because I just looked kind of plain, the background. I was just not completely happy, so I pulled it off. I trimmed off a little, I mean, I'm talking like a 1/16 of an inch on two sides of this. And then I decided I want to go around, I'm going to ink around the edge, and then I want to glitter, and I'm going to hit and emboss it with the glitter to give it that sparkle, because I think it'll make this stand out. So let's see how well my harebrained idea works. So I'm going to go ahead and sit my butt down, and I'm just going to run, just because I don't have to run a lot. I just got to get, you know, about, you know, maybe 1/8 of an inch in on the edge, because that's all it's going to show with my whipped cream. And it doesn't have to be pretty. It just, at this point, it really doesn't have to be pretty. It just has to be laid on, and it needs to be wet. Oh, there we go. Okay. So yeah, you'll excuse me because I really don't know what I'm doing. One thing I've learned about this, because I'm using a Snowflake tinsel embossing powder, and this is by Ranger, is that you need to shake it up to get the glitter, you know, spread out, because otherwise it'll come like in one spot and then there's no glitter. And I'm assuming it's just because I'm not sure which way is more, the embossing powder or the glitter, but I just know that that's the truth of the matter. So I'm just gonna get what I don't need off, and I decided I'm only going to do one side at a time, just in case. I don't know what that just in case is, but yeah, that's all I'm doing. So get this all, and I should have preheated my gun. I didn't think about that, so sorry. But after this, the other sides will take a lot less time. Let's just get that all glittered up. So yeah, nice. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do the other three and fast, so you don't have to put up with this. Alrighty then, we now have a really pretty glittered out sparkly edge to my card, so I'm really pleased with that. I think this is going to work. But now this is kind of, the glitter is kind of hard to glue onto, so I'm not trusting Big Mama. So I'm going for some a little bit stronger tape that usually I use this for my albums, for tension. Although this I have found, I'm not using this anymore for albums because apparently tape ages out. No, don't, and there we go. Oh, yes, cat hair. So now I have relegated these older rolls. I need to buy some new rolls because I'm thinking, well, either one of two things has happened with this tape. And I buy this tape from Rubber Stamp Concepts. It's up until this last album that massively backfired on me. It worked just as well as score tape, except you got more for less. But these last rolls, I'm assuming there's a part of me that thinks that they got old. In all honesty, I'm wanting to give them the benefit of the doubt. So I'm going to order just one roll, just to test it out. And if that's the case, then yeah, then I'll order in big quantities like I usually do because I use up a lot of tape on albums. But if not, then score tape, here I come. Out. So normally I don't use this kind of tape on a card. It's just, it doesn't really need it. There we go, just put that in there. And I'm gonna burnish it down. Mostly because that way it makes it easier to pull up the release tape. I'll just burnish it. There we go. I'm just gonna grab my handy dandy Cricut spatula. I do not use for the Cricut. I use it for everything but for its intended purpose. Oh lordy, it is like, oh my gosh. And you can't even get this old school one in this really hideous green. But yo, I love this. I love this. I used to have to. I'm down to this one, and God help me when I lose it, because it will eventually happen, and I'll be very, very, very sad. Okay, now what I'm going to do is try not to hit the camera with my fat head, and just lay this down, because it's going to be with tape. It's almost like one and done. You're sunk. Oh, I need to get it on myself. See, there's a part of me, I'm not sure if the card is not squared off or this panel is not squared off, and I checked it because I actually did have to square it off a little better when I trimmed it. I realized that it wasn't squared off. Okay, but now it could be the card base too. I realized that when I cut down the paper, and sometimes you gotta check that, guys, because our 12 by 12 frequently is not 12 by 12, and then everything is off. If the paper is off, everything is off. Now, see, I really like this. I really like, now it stands out. So it was just a little thing, but to me, it makes all the difference in the world on this card. Okay, now our next step is we're going to glitter up the snowflakes, and we're going to assemble them. We're going to put them all together and then apply them to the card. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to do this one, and then I'll probably do the rest, off camera or just so it doesn't take time. Because once you see one thing glittered, you've seen everything glittered. Put my tray back, and what I do is I grab my clear pigment ink, and I'm going, I don't know what, I'm probably going to get my fingers. I do this with my tweezers or just anything else but my fingers, so that I don't end up with sticky fingers. And then end up with glitter. It's bad enough. The glitter, no matter how, when you use glitter, anything that involves glitter, that it will be on you until, the end of time. Then we're all sparkly. But there you go. Don't let anybody ever dull your sparkle. So let's see, I want to make sure it all looks, nice and wet and juicy. I think I did a good job. I think, yeah, it looks, the points tend to knots. It's interesting. I had the same trouble when I did my sample card. Yeah, let's go. Just hit this in the middle again. Okay. So now we have a shaped snowflake in the wrong direction, but trust me, the embossing will fix that. And then I'm going to shake this up because it really does make a difference. I realized that shaking this up, I don't know why the glitter just wants to blob all together. So now shaking it up, I think will give it an even more even distribution of the glitter and the embossing powder. And I'm just going to cover my snowflake. Put the lid back on. And that looks good. I think I got a nice coating. And always, it doesn't matter, I can always come back actually, and I can second coat it. I can do another coat if I want. But, okay, I'm just going to put that there, hold it in place just with my tweezers. And let's get this out. There we go. Yay, this is still hot. So it's not going to take really a long time. And there you go. One and done. Really pretty. Isn't that pretty? That is just, wow. Now I can just take it, and while it's still warm, I can shape it a little bit, and hopefully it'll hold. Give it a little bit of this way so it'll lift off a bit off the paper, just like lay there flat. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do these, and I'm thinking I'm also taking some of the snowflakes that came out of the other card, and I'm going to add them here, so I will go ahead and emboss some of those as well. So hang on, we'll do this in the other mode. Alrighty then, we are now ready to assemble our snowflake, and I'm going to grab some glue dots to do that. And I probably should, reach behind me, and I probably will in a second, and grab small ones. I tried to glue another one together, and it really was a pain in the neck, and that's putting it mildly. So I think glue dots will work better, but who knows? What do I know, right? Whoops. Ah! Good, Myra. Let's stick the glue dot to the glass. Woo! But I managed to save myself. I forget it. It's moments like these that I think about. I think it's St. Jude, I think, is the patron saint of fools and small children. But yeah, I'm not a small child, so needless to say, it's the fool that I am. Oh, right. My gosh, it's really stuck to the backing. And it doesn't matter if it's a little ooey and gooey. And you're going to have to give me a second. I'm pretty sure I just heard my husband roll up. And I know for a fact that door is locked. So let me unlock it so that he can get in. Okay, husband has been warned to not come in here like sloshing and making all kinds of racket. Wow. But I just want to, let's see now. The trick here is not just gluing it down, but getting it centered. And that dot's pretty center, so I could practically see through, at least for this layer. It'll be easy. That looks good. Right? What do you guys think? It looks good to me. I think it's the glue dot that's a little off center, but I just need it to tack down. And then now I'm going to layer it with this one. I'm not sure. It's supposed to be layered with all of them, but I think that's going to be overkill. So I think this one I'm going to use, on the card itself. So we'll see. Let's see, let me figure it out. Let's get this guy. Now I do need a little glue dot. I think that big one is too much. Okay, where's my little box of small? There we go. Small box of glue dots. Or in the alternative, maybe I could use the big one. Let's just grab a little one. Where'd he go? There we go. Glue dot stuck to the glass trick. Let's try that again. There we go. And then we're going to, hopefully this glue dot will release. It will be cooperative and not think it's Gandhi and be passively that's what Gandhi practiced, passive non-cooperation. That was the other glue dot. Okay. And then let's just, I'm sorry, I'm like tilting it just so that I can see. I got the right, and that's the other thing. I'm struggling because I have the wrong glasses on. Ah, much better. That doesn't mean I'm going to get it any centered any better, but, now I won't have any excuses, if nothing else. All right, I'm back. I have added the one little snowflake, so now I am ready to do the sentiment. So I've already loaded up the sentiment, or part of the sentiment I'm using right here already in my Misty. So all I have to do is just lay a couple of magnets down. to hold my paper down. And I'm going to, yes, because I'm going to emboss this as well. So here I don't need to go the white. I can, like I did the snowflakes, I'm just going to clear emboss it because the ink itself, or the embossing itself, also turns white. So more here is getting this really good and juicy so that I can get all of those letters. It seems the bigger the letters, the more, for me at any rate, it's harder to get that imprint. Let me just swamp it down and let's see how well I did. Pretty good. I'm going to go for a second one just to make sure it's good and wet, because more in this case is better. And I'll do that. And we can do our winter. Alrighty. Oop, oop, oop. Yep, we're going to call it, oh, you know what? I'm catching Kradinsky. And that's because of the magnet. So let me do that. Let me be careful. I'll take the magnet off and we'll put one of these over here. Is the R is a circle. I just caught that. So I'm not getting, my R is not getting its little tail, its little round tail. So let's just capture that, grab that. Okay, obviously it is not meant to, it doesn't matter, no magnet. Because I think it's the magnet that's keeping it. And they're not supposed to. Those are the Misty magnets. The bars are ones I got off of Amazon. But that's a Misty magnet. So that should not be the case. Or maybe that's what I get for stamping so close to the edge, right? There we go. Now I have my desired effect. All right, cool. We'll set this aside. I'm going to leave it open because otherwise now I'm going to stamp the pad. Where did I put my little tray thingy? Oh, that's right here. Hello. Got that. I'm going to shake up my glitter again. And then we're going to lay this down. Whee! Sparkle. And Dingaling here forgot to hit it with her stamp buddy again, but the fairies were with me and they protected me for myself. All right, now we're going to go through and la 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 la. Just keep that up. Oh, come on, it's not. There we go. It's kind of like a hot, you know, what do they say? You know, a watched pot never boils. I'm always so impatient for the embossing. There we go. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. Now I'm going to really move this aside. And I'm going to grab the die from this set. And I think I showed you earlier, but this is the die set I use, which is the the glittering snowflakes. But all the things I use, I will link them down below in the description. I'm going to grab my lovely marquee that I love and adore passionately. I love this thing. And I'm going to, oh my goodness, it's really stuck. I put foam tape on here because this thing keeps coming off the sheet. And oh my God, holy cow, that was overkill. Maybe yeah, that wasn't my most genius idea. Maybe I should have used cheap foam. I don't know. What happened was that this thing came off the tape that was there, and it took me like an hour, more than that, to find it. And what happened is right here to the right, where the edge of my desk is, it's up against a 2x2. And it not only did it go down the edge, because that was my first thought, and I moved it and it wasn't on the floor. But no, wait, it has to be better. I have bins in those, and the bins were a little pushed back so you can see them. And I thought about it after just turning this place upside down, the trash included. And I thought, well, I thought it was just crazy. And I opened the bins, and there it had fallen into one of the bins. But I drove myself bonkers looking for this thing. So I said, yeah, no, we're not using the tape anymore. We're going to put foam tape down so it doesn't fall anymore. And then this happens. I'm telling you, there's no winning. I can't win. I can't lose. I can't even break even. I'm just going to tape that down. So there, that's my story. That's the Funny Meyer story for the day. The madness of the Mad Scrapper. I tell people things that happen to be happen to no one. I'm gonna put that in. And let's run it through. Whee! Uh-oh. Elvis. Elvis wants to play. And Squeaky's like, yeah, no, I'm too old for this. Okay, so there we have it. It's not perfect. It didn't come up, but you know what? Phooey. That's what I get for doing this and talking at the same time. But now we're going to come back in. Now I got to plop my card in here. But before I do that, I'm going to grab my today's designated wet one. Let me clean the stamp off. I'm going to leave it there still. Because if you do one, why not do, a couple? So I'm going to do a couple more, but you only guys need to see one. So I need to stamp another sentiment still. Another winter. So I'll go on this side over here. No, Myra, that's the lid. I'm going to lay my card in here. And I want to do, so I want to say Winter Wishes and Snowflake Kisses. It's my favorite one out of here. I've used it a bunch of times, and I really should not discriminate and use some of the other ones in here. But this one is absolutely my favorite. So there you go. It's going to get used. Now, where's my... Oops. There it is. That will go... See, I have to know where my winter is going. So I make sure I have enough space for this guy. Okay. I think that's good. Now, what I do know is this guy is crooked. And it's the stamp. It's not that I have it crooked. It's the stamp itself is a bit wonky. Now, this is the only one thing that I will not be embossing. I will be embossing, but not with the glitter. I'm just going to do white and then clear embossing. Which means I need to pull out my clear embossing powder. Hello. Let's grab that real quick. Heaven forbid I should be prepared. Look, there it is. Yay. Alrighty. So now, white ink right here. Let's just do that. There we go. I'll stamp that down. I'm going to hit it again. I probably hit my wishes a little too hard, but there's nothing to do about that now. See, I already forgot, my own cardinal rule of this. It's better to do a bunch of layers than do one badly done one. There we go. I'm gonna have the kisses is the only thing now that I think needs a little more ink. Yep. And it is crooked, but I'm not going to stress it. So let me just now pull that out, and I forgot to do this. I need to pour this in here. So let me just take care of that really quick here. Oh, hello. It would help if I took the lid off. I heard that. There we go. Let's try that again. Oh, look. Amazing how it works. Telling you, I could have a whole video just for a blooper reel. Just out of all the crazy stuff I do. Let's get that in there too. Okay. Set that aside. Let me just do dusty. Got the glitter out of here. There we go. And this, thank the Lord, is slow drying ink. That's what I love about it. And I'm going to just hit it with the clear. Okay, there we go. Set that aside. Let's go in real quick and we'll just make that shiny. There we go. And had I really thought this through, I probably should have done this and then mounted it on the card. There we go. So there we go. We have our sentiment there. Now I'm ready. And because I want to do this quickly, I would normally probably pull out my 3D glue, but I am not for the sake of time, and I'm just going to whip out some foamies. Let's lay this down. And these are my lovely, again, guys, I get these foams at the 99-cent store. So if you're paying more than 99 cents for your foams, you are paying far too much. I don't have the packaging here, but I'll write the name down in the description. I'll give that to you. But definitely, you can either find it either in the kind of the office, you know, crafting area that they have, or you're going to find it in hardware because it is foam mounting tape. So, okay, let's get this down because I want to be done. I'm over this card. And I'm not sure if you guys can hear that, but to me, I hear it loud and clear. My husband is right here hanging out on the couch playing Pokemon Go. He is catching things without me.
I just got a Pikachu.
There we go. He just caught a Pikachu. And he's doing this without me. We're just going to have to talk to him. Alrighty. Okay. So now we have this down. So now we can go in. Ouch. Ooh, I touched the nozzle to the gun and it was hot. It's hot. So see, now I can decide. I can really center this nicely. So I am going to, I want to decide whether I want to do glue or I want to do another glue dot that's going to drive me bananas. Or are the glue dots? Ah. I'm going to glue dot this puppy, but now I'm going to stay standing up so that I can see it to center it well. What I may do is put like 2 of them on. Let me see if I can get it. These glue dots are really determined to stay stuck to the not releasing release. Holy cow. Yes, we're going to have to talk to glue dots people about this. But they are, I think are they heavy duty? I can't remember. Maybe that's, you know, there you go. That's how much they stick that you can't get them unstuck from even their release, the backing. Okay, I'm going to use another one. I press it really well into the paper, hopefully. This comes out a little bit easier. Okay. Now I have to decide where. Let's see. What do you think, guys? I think I practically, you know, laid it down perfectly. I will leave that there because you know what? Where are my little guys? Do I want to? I'm thinking. No, it almost looks like overkill. I think it's the little guy. Yeah, the little guy. I think I'm going to put that little guy right there. Lift it up and just go a little bit, tiny bit higher. But that's pretty centered. All right, we have committed. Now all we have to do is lay down a dot for our friend here, the big or small snowflake. I'm just going to dot right there, wherever. Wherever the dot is, that's where it's going. Alrighty, one last thing I want to do is, where are the others? I have all the, oh, here we are. Rest of my rhinestones. I'm going to put one bigger one on this right there. Okay. Wow. Come here, my pretty. Right? It needed that sparkle. And then I need one of these. I think that's too small. I don't know, maybe it's, I almost, let me see, what's the next size? Let's see. God, almost looks too big. Well, actually, I don't know. Let's see, that one or that one. No, it's got to be that one. I'm going to go for that one. And I'm just going to put that down with glue too. Make a bigger dot. And hopefully we don't regret this. We center it and then press. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to take a second now and we're going to go in with the next smaller size. And I'm going to put down the rest of the rhinestones really quick. Do a couple of dots at a time. Yeah. This is the easy part. It's the fact that I have to flip the other ones is going to be the entertaining portion of this video. Oh, there we go. Put a dot there. And hopefully we'll be able to flip another one fast before the glue dries. Well, he did flip. I just have to chase him down. There we go. And actually, well, that one, we just need one more. We don't need all 6. So put him right there. Because you can, this guy, the one that would go here, you really can't see it because W, but this one you can see slightly. And I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so, or not, I don't know. That's kind of it, when you're talking about me, that's a bit of an oxymoron. There we go, this was too much glue there. But this one I feel good about putting that down. Okay. And there you have it, a winter card, again, not traditional, just, but I'm liking this. I'm really, really happy ultimately with the effect, what I did here. The only thing I wish I could do, and I may play with this, is to get this embossed area to where I could glitter it as well, but I don't think so. So I'm going to leave pretty much well alone. So again, I will link you down below with all the materials that I used. And I know there's the other card I did, but I'm going to bring it in on a separate video rather than make this one longer than it's already going to be. So there will be a part 2 to the haul. All right, we'll do the other winter card. All right. So I'll see you guys later. Please, again, always take care of yourselves. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And go ahead, if you want to see more videos by me, do hit the subscribe button, ring the bell so you know when I'm on. And other than that, always remember, scrap the madness, okay? You guys take care. Bye. Well, guys, I'm back. Being a person that cannot leave well enough alone, I kept revisiting this card, and the fact that this, and I'll take one because I've made several of them, because if you make one, make 5. And this bothered me that it just is plain, and I wanted it to stand out in same shape, way, or form, and I couldn't wrap my mind around how to glitter emboss it. And then it hit me, you dork, you have a Versamark pen. And I've had this sitting around for 3 or 4 months. I got it at a Joann's sale. It was like 40% off. And I'm like, ooh, we're going to have to try this. And what it is, it's basically Versamark ink in a pen form. So it has 2 ends. It's got, this side is a bullet, the bullet end, just like a Copic marker. And then the other side is a brush tip. And what I went in, and here is one that I partially did to test it, is I just apply the ink to the raised portion and then hit it with my embossing powder with the glitter in it, and it did what I wanted it to do. The one thing is, like here, it's still, you can see where here it's solid, and then right here it's open. You're going to want to do this. If you want to duplicate this technique, I'm telling you right now, and I'll show you, is you're going to want to do this in small sections, because even though it's Versamark dries slower, it does dry. So wherever it dries, obviously the embossing powder is not going to stick to it. So let me show you guys. I'll do another little section, and then I'll do the whole rest of the card, but I'll just fast forward it because you guys do not need to see this in slow-mo or regular mo because it is painstaking. But you just go over, and while I'm doing is applying the ink only to the raised portion. The bullet does allow me to do that where I have greater control. I did it initially with the brush tip, and I did struggle with it, and then I had to go back in and remove some of the embossing powder and glitter that came off the edge because I got off the edge myself. So when you're doing something detailed like this, I highly suggest that you use the bullet end of your marker and just go in. So I'm just going to do this one section because it'll stay wet long enough. Whoops, and see, I already did it again. I went off the edge, so I'll probably have to remove some. So we'll see what happens in a second. So I've got it all covered. Make sure it's all nice and wet. And then I go in here. And you can tell where I've already done this. I'm going to now, real quick, another thing I noticed is that with this, and I'm using my Ranger Snowflake Tinsel Embossing Powder, which has glitter in it, is I have to shake it up because the glitter wants to clump all together. And what I want is an even distribution, more or less, of the glitter in between the embossing powder. So I just toss it on there, and pretty good even where I went off. Apparently I did it so lightly. Oh, I can see it. So I'm going to take my little tool here and try to pull that off. which is easier said than done because I'm in a curvy area. So we'll see. At least I spread it so it doesn't look like a solid line. We'll see. There we go. Okay, let's see. Let's take a look at what happens here. So now, throw on our heat tool and see the magic happen. Yep, there we go. So there you have it, that one little section. See now how much prettier? I mean, to me, to my taste, this is what I wanted. So now give me a moment. I'm going to do the rest of the card for you guys, okay? Hang on. Alrighty, my internet peeps, I have now come with you with the new and improved card, and one. This is actually the original one I did on camera with you because you can see this is the one I glued down. So I wasn't able to do the glittering technique. I had to start another one, and these are just taped down. I just used Big Mama afterwards. Or no, I actually did use the same tape thing, but I did the embossing first before I taped it down. And even here it's a little loose, and I think it's because I hit it with heat because it's now back down. But I'm really happy. The only place that I'm probably not happy is a little bit right here. I could probably hit it again. I don't think the glitter right here, because it just didn't get wet. What I did notice is with the chisel end is a little bit drier, I don't even say drier, it's just smaller. So it takes a little bit more to get the area that you want inked up juicy, where this end is just juicy, period. But you have less control. So it's a give and take. So you may have to, with the bullet end, hit it a little bit more to get it wet enough to where it looks like it's going to adhere. But regardless, I like it. In the grand scheme of things, I'm going to go back and fix the other two. I have several that I made. And again, it's up to you whether you want to put in this much effort into a card or not. I do it because I enjoy it. I do it because I want to show you guys possibilities. And this can apply to anything that you emboss that you want to spoof up a little bit more, where you have that delicate scroll work and anything else. This marker is uber awesome. I love it. I put it up there. If you like to do embossing and whatnot, it's a must-have as far as I am concerned. And this is a must-have I just acquired myself. All right. So, but again, it's only been recently that I've got turned towards doing more card making and not just traditional albums. So in an album making, I might not use this so much. But there you have it, guys. I will now let you go. I promise this card is done. This will go up today. I'm just waiting to finish editing on this little segment. So you should see it soon. So I will repeat what I always say, guys. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you want to see more, subscribe to me and ring the bell, or, and you will know when I come on. I appreciate any comments you leave. I will always answer. I appreciate you guys who even take the time to watch this. And if you have anything you want to see, please let me know. Send me, put a comment. I do look at them. Other than that, be careful. Enjoy your day. And don't forget, we're all a little mad here, okay? So scrap your madness, all right? Talk to you guys later. Bye.